GearNetwork.com.
The following is a presentation of the Gear Radio Network.
Hey, this is April Hunter, and you are listening to the All Bets Are Off podcast with Robbie Vega.
What's up, rockers? This is the Rockstar Robbie Vegas coming at you with another episode of the All Bets Are Off podcast. Before I even get to our guest for today, I need to let you guys know about Death Comes Lifting. Death Comes Lifting is a multimedia health and wellness universe that creates original clothing, content, podcasts, playlists, workouts, and weirdness in order to foster a community in which physical, mental, and spiritual well-being can lift alongside horror, heavy metal, and punk rock culture. We are fitness for the misfits. Welcome to the Lifting Dead Army. If you guys are interested in this, I gotta tell you, I'll post a picture of it. I already did as well. But they have great merchandise to choose from. I'm talking all your favorite horror fiends and villains, and they got great workouts. Just go to deathcomeslifting.com. You'll see all their merch. You can join the Lifting Dead Army. There's training. There's all kinds of great stuff, podcasts, playlists. Make sure you check it out. They got t-shirts, they got tank tops, they got long sleeves, sweatshirts, whatever you need, all kinds of accessories. I will post a picture of some of my gear again for that, but you guys really need to check them out. It's fitness for the misfits, man. I can't say that enough. Like, if you're into even my pro wrestlers out there, heavy metal, horror movies, this is going to be the place for you. So they're a new sponsor of the show. I'm going to be plugging them every single week, and I'm not going to stop. So you guys check them out, follow them on social media, and they also have a Patreon page, the Lifting Dead Army. So get on there, check it out, let us know what you think, follow them across the board. So today's guest, somebody I've known for a long time, but I'm getting to know better today with this interview, is Kevin Bennett. So Kevin is a professional wrestler. He's a musician. He produces. And he's got a lot going on, man. So this was really cool. It's been a long time coming. I asked Kevin to be on the show a while ago, and we both kind of just forgot about it, honestly. So we got him on today, and it's a great interview, and we had a blast doing it. But before I bring that to you, I want to tell you guys about Brush. Brush is an electric toothbrush that will change the way you think about brushing your teeth. With powerful sonic technology and ultra-gentle bristles, the Brush redefines what it means to have super clean teeth. It's like that feeling when you just leave the dentist, a fresh, whole mouth clean. Every single day. Our listeners get 15% off their total purchase with code POD15. Follow the link in the show notes and enter the code POD15 to get your exclusive discount and upgrade your oral care routine. So before we get Kevin going here and before we get this interview rolling, I don't want to give you guys any spoilers. I'm going to let Kevin talk about absolutely everything, including his time on WWE television. That was a really fun story. I want to play you guys one of Kevin's songs. So I'm going to drop that right now, and then we'll get Kevin on the phone.
Yeah, pacing up and down empty roads, destination unknown. Swollen feet and two broken ankles, I still don't trip on my toes. They ain't got a clue what run through my mind. Thoughts are racing with shoes untied. It threw me for a loop when it did not fit into places, but I needed to try my own size. So I wonder why I don't get to be like everybody else. Stay taught while I'm quiet in the corner by myself. So shy, introverted, getting nervous when I'm looking in the mirror. See a person that could use a little help. Yeah, I know I can't help it. Hood pulled up, mask on way before the pandemic. Eyes all black like the ink in my pen is. Face all white like a ghost in my presence. They wonder why I'm so apprehensive. Ask myself why I feel this way, but I always leave with unanswered questions. Place myself behind closed doors, in the shadows. I don't understand it, I never will. So I guess it's time that I just accept it. This is who I am. Never see me open, only know the closing. This is who I am. Yeah, lurking in the shadows, waiting on my moment. This is who I am. This is who I am. Who I am. I've been trying to figure it out why I'm always the one comparing me to somebody else, and I would always keep it in about the way.
So Kevin, man, thank you so much for being here. It's been a wild year for wrestlers and musicians, and you happen to be both.
Yes, sir. I do both.
So COVID must have hit you pretty hard then with, much like me, gigs stopped, wrestling stopped. Did you find yourself being, a little more creative during all this?
Yeah, actually, I would like to say that, as horrible as it sounds, I would like to say that this pandemic was like a blessing for me obviously a pandemic is not a good thing, but when you have extra time to do things, yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised at like all the things that people can do in their spare time that actually, are very beneficial to their lives. And that's one thing that I did.
Did you find yourself in like a different headspace with, being creative as far as, maybe writing new music and things like that? Or was it like a gradual thing that you kind of built up to because you realized, hey, this isn't ending anytime soon?
Right. Yeah. So it's kind of like, it's weird. I kind of feel like I didn't really have a plan, I guess, going into, like once this whole pandemic, started, it wasn't like I really had like a game plan or anything to like write more music, or really I didn't even really know what to expect. But I mean, since I had that free time, it was just kind of like I wanted to write more music anyways, just because like of wrestling and like those hectic weekends, like between a full-time job, being a dad, like working out, all these things that you want to get in, every day. Like there's only 24 hours in a day, you know what I mean? But it was like I don't know, I just kind of looked at it like, this is my time to actually, I don't know, I guess perfect my craft, I guess.
Mhm.
So it was like I'm a YouTuber as well, so I have a pretty like decent YouTube following, and what I've noticed that is that with the consistency, like you can build quickly, and get more fans, listeners, everything, just if you're more present online. So I mean, that was the thing. I was just like, I mean, if I have this time to do what I love, why might as well just start firing and get as much as you can done, because yeah, I didn't know how long this was going to be, you know what I mean? So I kind of looked at it like, let's try to get like a song in every week and just see kind of what happens. So like I dropped one video. It was like a joke, like funny video,
Mhm.
like a quarantine style music video. It had like some decent numbers on it, but I wanted to try to find something that I could just keep rolling with, where I could just keep putting out content and just see where YouTube would land me.
Right.
And yeah, man, like that's pretty much what I've come to figure out, is that consistency is like what wins. So
Well, your body had to heal up a lot too, because you're one of those guys that's out there on the road wrestling all the time. And like you said, you're in the gym, you got, all the other stuff going on, being a dad and all this other stuff. So you must have at first been like, wow, I'm recovering.
yes, yeah, that's a big thing too. No, for real, dude. Yeah, like because so last year, in August, it was the 10-year mark for me. And yeah, I was really looking at it like that, after a couple months of just not wrestling at all. I mean, still obviously working out in the gym and whatnot, and training and doing all this cardio stuff in the summer. Like it's still nothing compared to, getting actually like beaten down in a ring all the time,
Right.
like so that plus working out, like I mean, you know how it is, man. Like it's just a constant battle every week.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
um
absolutely. And I
yeah,
remember
so
over
I
the
mean,
years, there was a few scary moments that I was there that you went through. And I was like, oh man, he really got his bell rung there. So, like, your body must have really
yeah.
at first been like, oh, thank God we're going to take a little break.
Well, yeah, that was another like scary thing too. Yeah, I feel like I was getting my bell rung pretty frequently, and I remember even like Pepper, he like pulled my girlfriend aside even one time just because I was like I was getting rocked all the time, but I wasn't like settling down, or at least just giving things a break, just to kind of like breathe a little bit. Like maybe it's not good to just like keep bumping constantly. Like if we're for some reason I'm getting like concussions. I mean, I never went to the doctor or anything. Nobody ever really diagnosed me with concussions as far as the time period that I'm talking about. But it was like I just kept kind of running into those problems. It's like one match I'm getting like kneed in the head brutally. It's just
Hmm.
like totally like seeing white flashes. And then there's like another time like I took one of those like sunset flip power bombs and just totally like destroyed me. And when I went back to the locker room, I forgot like we were even in Canada, like so
Oh,
that
wow.
type of stuff. Yeah, so it's like it's really terrifying, and like people really don't look at the CTE thing as serious as they should. At least I think so. So, I mean, yeah, if you look at it in the grand scheme of things, man, like I think this pandemic definitely helped me in plenty of ways as far as just, bumps and bruises. And then also, yeah, taking all those blows to the head and stuff. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I remember one. I don't know if you'll remember this, and I hope that you do, because if not, it's probably worse than I even thought. I think it was in PWR, so this was years ago. And I don't know if there was a ladder or something. You came flying over the top rope, and your head just cracked the tile floor. And I remember being
Yes,
there
yeah.
and going, oh my God. And like at first I was like, maybe it was like, your hand smacked the ground, and that's what I heard, but it was your head.
Yeah.
And that freaked me out.
Yeah, man.
Like I remember that was the first time, because I was still like real green, and I was like, oh my God. And that was the first time I saw something like that in person. And I was like,
Right.
is he going to be okay? And it just blew my mind.
I know that's definitely one of the more serious. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't even really consider an injury, because like I remember I went to the doc. They told me everything looked fine. Like I didn't show any signs of like a concussion or anything, but just based off of like, what happened, and I guess just how I was feeling, like they called it a concussion, but like there was no crazy damage that it left me with or anything. But I was an idiot actually the following week, because I ended up drinking. I remember drinking like a full pitcher of beer, and I'm an idiot. I didn't tell many people this, but I was in my younger years. Like I wanted to party and drink it after the shows, So like I drank like a whole pitcher of beer, and dude, I was throwing up like crazy.
Oh my God.
So I must have had a serious concussion,
Yeah.
Like there was no reason for that. Like I didn't drink that much, but it was just like the alcohol, I guess. Like after having such a severe concussion like that, I was like, yeah, puking all in the bathroom, and it was just horrible, man.
Well, let me ask you this. What came first for you, music or wrestling?
So, so it's funny. I tried to answer this the other day to somebody that asked me. They kind of like came hand in hand, to be honest. I believe I was a wrestling fan, I think fourth grade. I was like 7 or 8 years old. That's like the first time I ever like saw wrestling. And around that time is when my older brother ended up getting me into hip hop. And, he was sharing all these rappers with me, like, like the old school cliche, like Tupac, Biggie, Jay-Z, like all that kind of stuff, And I would like to say that, yeah, they both came around at the same time. And the thing that stuck with me in pro wrestling were the theme songs. And I don't know why. Like for some reason, dude, like just developing this growth for or this love for music and wanting to create music, and like I was just a creative kid overall. Like I always loved to draw and just pretty much just make things of my own. So I don't know, man. Like, I loved wrestling as just larger than life type of thing. Like the theatrics of it, just everything, and loving music. I love the theme songs. I wanted to make my own theme song. I wanted to make my own songs. I wanted to be a wrestler. Like it was just all, I was like rolling it into a ball pretty much, So I never really like separated the two. Cause yeah, I was like super inspired to be a rapper because my older brother, obviously he loved hip hop, but he had friends that were rappers too. So that was like a whole other thing. I was like, man, I know people personally that are like rappers and stuff. Like I want to be able to do this one day, maybe make my own theme song, be a pro wrestler. And, it was just a crazy dream that I had as a kid. So, I mean, they both just go hand in hand, man. Like it all started at the same time.
That's cool. And I can really relate to that too, because I was going through the same thing when I was younger. But on the flip side, it was rock and roll. And it was that same feeling of I'm going to create my own music and I'm going to do, and it just kind of took off from there and it never left me. And you said it's like a crazy dream, but you're doing it. You're doing both right now.
Right. Exactly. It's funny too. Like, you say rock and roll, like that's the thing. I always loved rock and roll. Like that was the part of wrestling that I loved too, like just the heavy guitar riffs and everything. Like, that's why I'm really surprised actually that I never ended up really getting into like rock and roll or trying to be like a rock and roll singer or even playing a guitar or anything like that. So it actually kind of blows my mind because like a lot of the beats that I make even nowadays,
Mhm.
just the way I create melodies and just produce things overall, I always just have like those old WWF theme songs in the back of my head, dude. Like just all those good, heavy ass guitar riffs. For I don't know what it is, man. Like so, it really surprises me that I never really went that route. But I mean, my style has always been heavily influenced by just that grungy like hard rock style. Like it's always been my favorite.
Well, I mean, there's still time because I got some sick riffs over here. So if you want to be a rock
Hey.
singer,
Yeah, man. Hell yeah. I know that's another thing too. Like not many people know that like I'm not the greatest singer ever, but I can sing. Like I'm competent at least. I've dropped songs where I can sing and there's a lot of people that are like, what the hell? Like this guy doesn't sing. He's usually just a rapper.
I kind of have a question that's, I guess, in the same realm as what we're talking about. So you're a rapper, you're a wrestler. Does that translate into being good on the mic in the ring?
Oh, like promo stuff?
Yeah.
So I mean, to be honest, like me, I consider myself not the greatest talker. I don't know why. Like, I guess I just have this weirdness about me where it's like, I don't know, my thoughts get all kind of conjumbled sometimes. So it's like, I don't know. I'm the type of person that gets in my own head where it's kind of like I have a camera in front of me
Mhm.
and, I'm expected to say whatever, like, which I know, like, if it was just me by myself, like in my bathroom, looking in the mirror, I'd be able to nail it. But it's like for some reason I have this weird pressure with talking, and I always feel like I'm so like all over the place. So honestly, like some people don't know that about me.
Mhm.
That I have this like weird, I don't know, anxiety, like under pressure type of thing where I just like kind of, screw things up or have to take like 6 different takes of a promo or whatever just because I get inside my own head. But I mean, I wouldn't consider myself bad, because like I've had this hip hop quote unquote character
Mhm.
for quite a few years now, and there was just a confidence that I really needed to build on the microphone in wrestling because before the whole Kevin Bennett rapper persona in wrestling, like I didn't have that confidence, I didn't have that identity, so like I felt lost. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to say it, So it was like when I got more comfortable and developed more of a confidence as to where, like, okay, I am Kevin Bennett. I am a rapper. I'm not just like some fake weirdo just trying to, sell you some words on camera.
Right.
I feel like that's where I really, I got a lot better at it, I guess. I'm not the greatest still. I would say I'm better than some. We'll just say.
So you write your own music and lyrics, and then you also record and produce your own music too, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I
That-
try to do everything myself.
That is huge. Like that's a talent that I can't even wrap my head around. Like I'm still the guy that goes to a studio and lets somebody else do, all that stuff for me. So for you to sit here and say, yeah, I do all of this right down to right when it gets released, that blows my mind. That's amazing.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons to it because one thing that's been driving me crazy about doing everything yourself is that sometimes you don't have like a second opinion when you need it. So like when you go to a studio, and you're recording things or whatever, and you have this engineer that's actually helping you out, like he's actually, most of the time like telling you like what sounds good, what doesn't.
Yes.
And pretty much I only have myself other than like asking my girlfriend or my brother or somebody that's around just to like take a listen and just to tell me what they think, like this last project that I did, dude, it took me like 2 weeks just to master the thing because I was listening to it so often that it just turned into like a ball of noise. And I didn't even like, it didn't even sound like a song to me anymore. And my girlfriend's just going crazy. Like you've literally restarted this master like 30 different times. I'm like listening to it on a pair of headphones, then mixing headphones, then AirPods, then I'm playing it on a Bluetooth speaker on my phone, in my car, on some monitors, like, and it was just driving me insane because like I didn't have a fresh pair of ears for it,
Right. Right.
So I ended up like sending the song to, a couple audio engineers that I knew out in like the UK, and sent it to multiple people so that they could give me like feedback on what they heard because they never heard the song before.
Right.
So it's like sometimes that's the only thing that kind of irritates me about it, is just that when you work on a project for so long, it's like you become numb to it and you don't even know what it really sounds like anymore.
That's true. I definitely agree with that. Now, are you self-taught at producing?
Yeah. So I'm not a guy of like music theory. I mean, I was in band, in elementary school.
Right.
They taught me how to read music like back in elementary school. I forgot how to do it. So I don't really know I really don't know the proper music theory. It's pretty much all just like by ear, and then I just did research on like how to use these softwares.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much everything that I do, man, it's all just being curious over the years, and then just really getting down to work and like almost treating it like college, So,
yeah. Now, I remember
it's been years of that, bro.
I remember that when you first started wrestling, at least I don't know if it's when you first started or when I first started coming around and like knew who you were, but I remember guys saying, Kevin Bennett is like real good already and he's got a ring in his backyard. So did you start training yourself in wrestling too?
I mean, we won't say it like that. Just because, I mean, that could sound pretty
yeah, that's
horrible.
True. That's true.
I mean, we all did the backyard wrestling. Like,
oh yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty, like, I guess I don't want to call that training, but right. I mean, as far as just like throwing my body around with my friends and, doing stupid stuff. I guess I was prepared myself before training
for abuse.
But, exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like that definitely helped in the long run.
Well, the reason I brought it up that way is because I'm just trying to get a sense of, our listeners to know that you're like a go-getter. You're just not the person to like wait around and let it happen. You're like, no, I'm going to go figure this out.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's funny you say that, because the first independent wrestling show I believe I went to, I was, 12 years old, 12 or 13, maybe. Me and a couple of my buddies that we did the backyard wrestling together. We went to, it's called Next Era Wrestling. You remember that?
Yeah. Yep.
NEW.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Next Era Wrestling. We went there, and there were a couple guys like, you got your JC Moneys, you got your Tiger Smiths, all those guys, and we're young kids. We just wanted to know how to wrestle. And we would go around and, ask all the wrestlers at intermission, how old you had to be to train. And, they told us 16. We're like, oh, sweet. We're not that far off. 3 more years, we'll get to train, but my parents, they literally ended up buying me a wrestling ring at 13 years old.
Wow.
And my dad was just supposed to build us one, just like a really, not like just a shitty, like piece of wood. With like, with mats on it, he was actually in the process of doing it. But I remember we saw something online. I guess it might've been about $2 or $3 grand or something. It was just like one of those low boy rings.
Oh yeah.
And, they ended up buying it for me. And I still am blown away at the fact that my parents did that. And I'm only 13 years old.
Right.
Like I ask them nowadays, I'm like, why did you guys do that? How weird. Just to have all these 13-year-old kids running around in your backyard, it's like a total hazard,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. But my mom, she always told me, well, I don't know, for some reason I just knew that like this is what you really wanted to do. And it's crazy that she said that, just because, like a dumb 13-year-old kid can say anything.
Yeah. Right. Right.
It doesn't mean I'm really going to pursue professional wrestling down the road, but I mean, that's exactly how it turned out. And we had a buddy, his name was Danny Danger. I don't know if you remember him at all.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, he was like a backyard wrestler himself. So me and my buddies all looked up to him in the YouTube realm. Mm-hmm. And he actually had some pro training under his belt, and he saw that we ended up getting a ring. So he was probably thinking, like, what in the hell are these kids doing? Like, he's a couple of years older than us. So, we would get made fun of on the backyard wrestling forums, and just like a lot of the older backyard wrestlers that were somewhat trained, I guess. Like they would always be commenting on our stuff, just like, you guys have a legitimate pro wrestling ring and you don't know what the hell you're doing at all. You don't know how to run the ropes. You don't know how to take a proper bump. You're just throwing kids from the neighborhood in there, and somebody's going to get hurt, And
Mhm.
we just, we didn't care. Like, we just wanted to wrestle.
Yeah.
But we actually had Danny Danger reach out to us and say, look, I'm going to teach you motherfuckers how to wrestle. All right. Yeah, so it was crazy. Like that was our dream come true. We loved this guy. We had a ring. He was willing to come up from Easton, Pennsylvania, to come up and teach us like the basics, and he did exactly that. Like, and it was crazy. Like he, as young as he was like 18 at the time.
Yeah.
He was like a serious, like, I don't know, man. What do I even call him? Like I don't know, just like a military style,
Like a drill
leader.
instructor.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's exactly like a drill instructor, bro. Like, yeah, the way that he treated us and the way that he treated pro wrestling was like the most serious thing. Like, he told us that we had to like respect pro wrestling. Like, if you're not going to respect pro wrestling, then you're going to get the hell out. Like everything that is taught to you in pro wrestling, you will respect. Like just pretty much just like
Wow.
wrestling. Yeah, dude, it was crazy, man. Like we couldn't believe it. We were scared of him.
Yeah, I
but
would
he
imagine.
was a badass. Yeah, he was a badass. He was an amazing wrestler. Like we just really looked up to him. But yeah, he was a scary guy. Like in our eyes as young kids. But he taught us everything as far as just the basic bumps, rolls.
Mhm.
Tried to teach us how to put matches together. He got me my first pro wrestling match
Oh wow.
at 16 years old. Yeah, so it was like he really helped me and a bunch of my buddies out, and we'll never forget all those times. And how much he actually really helped my wrestling career, because I never went to a school. That's the
Mhm.
thing. It like started with him, and then I transitioned over to Empire State Wrestling, but they didn't have a school. They just had like seminars before shows.
Oh, okay.
So I would go there. I would train, for a couple hours with like Pepper Parks or Brandon Thurston, and this is only like once a month,
Mhm.
But we were trying to like lie to whoever was training, saying like we didn't have any prior experience, because we didn't want to tell anybody we were training in the yard.
Yeah.
Because but they eventually ended up catching on.
Mhm.
Like Thurston, he was just like wondering, how do these kids all know how to do the handstand bump? Why are they all running the ropes perfectly? Like Vinny Moon, he was another one. He didn't want to tell anybody, but he's doing all the fundamentals like just crisp and clean, and like
Right.
people eventually ended up catching on. So
Well, that's a very, well, I don't know if it still is, but for a while there, that was a very like keep it under the hat type thing. It was real frowned upon.
exactly, yeah, and it's crazy how much it's changed over the years, because
Yeah.
now backyard wrestling is cool. Everybody's praised for it now.
Yeah, right. Right. I think that started to change with like the Joey Janela's of the world. Like people hear about him and they're like, well, he did it. Who cares?
Right, because I knew Joey from the yard. Like I didn't meet him until way later, until we were already like pro wrestlers. But Joey Janela, I knew as a backyard wrestler. Like, so it's crazy to see what he's doing now, because all these guys, like Alex Zane, he was a huge backyard wrestler, like one of the favorites actually. So I loved him. Matt DeMorris. Who else? I remember LSG from Ring of Honor.
Yep.
Yeah, he was another in YouTube comments, just from like our backyard feds.
Mhm.
Like it's crazy just to see these kind of guys, like, and now so many of them are on television and stuff, so it's backyard wrestling was the way, man. Like,
Well, I mean, yourself included, because you've had multiple appearances on WWE television.
right, of course.
So anybody who was on that forum talking shit, like now you can go back and be like, did you face Andrade? So tell me a little bit about how that started for you. Do you remember the first time you got the call for extra work?
Yeah, actually. So Brody Lee was the guy to hook me up in the first place.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so he got my foot in the door. It was pretty fast too. I think I remember hitting him up like the week before the show.
Mhm.
It was a Monday Night Raw, and it was scheduled on the day of my birthday. And for some reason, man, I don't know what it was. It was like I saw a commercial on TV for that specific show, and I was like, I don't know why, but I have this feeling I'm going to be on that show just because it's my birthday, it's Monday Night Raw, and they're in Buffalo. Like, what perfect setting would that, you know?
Yeah,
So, like,
absolutely.
I ended up just, like, hitting up Brody, just saying, hey, man, like, you know, is there any way that I could, like, become a part of extra work somehow? Like, I don't know how it goes.
Mhm.
You know, and he knew me from a long time ago, you know, being on shows with him and stuff. And,
Yeah.
you know, I think he knew that I was like a good kid at least. And like, I wasn't expecting help from him at all. I just asked him like, hey, could you point me in the right direction and maybe go on there? And he's just like, give me your information. Like, I got you. So I was like, damn,
That's
you know,
awesome.
that was, I was like, all right, dude, you know, I'm like, and then we were talking more and I'm just thinking like, how come nobody else has really like reached out to you about this kind of stuff? And he's like, because everybody's scared to. He's like, nobody says anything to me other than Dewey.
Oh, yeah.
I think he was the only other guy that's ever like reached out to him.
Mhm.
And I get it, you know, it's like you don't want to be that guy bothering this dude just because he's signed in the company.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I was the same way. I didn't want to be that guy hitting him up like that, but you know, it's like I'm not being like a weird mark or anything or like trying to gain anything just because like you're a, you know, big superstar now. It's like I generally just wanted to know, and like he ended up helping me, dude. So I got on that show. It was the scariest thing of my life.
Mhm.
Like, and it was like the scariest drive to the arena. I was like, because what year was it? 2016 maybe. Yeah, I remember I had my dad drive me just because like my nerves were so crazy.
Yep.
So I was just so nervous because I didn't know what it was going to look like. It's like a surreal land, like a magical fairy tale land that, you know, you hear about.
Yes. Yep.
And so, dude, it was wild, man. Like I had my dad drive me. Of course, he's like road raging and yelling at people on the fucking throughway, and I'm like freaking out. I'm like, oh my god, can we just like chill for a minute? Like I'm about to be going in this place, you know. Like, so I walk in there. Finally, you know, I see Lakeem there. I'm like, oh, Lakeem, thank God. I'm like, I thought I was doing this alone.
Right.
It was like Lakeem, Rex Atkins, and then like my nerves slowly, you know, settled. And like we go in there, I start seeing everybody like Jericho, and
Mhm.
you know, you see Lesnar and Goldberg and all those dudes, man. It was nuts, you know. But then I felt like I was a part of it. After a couple hours went by, I'm like, damn. So this is really what it's like, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And then, yeah, I did it a couple times after that, and yeah.
Now, I got to ask you about the Andrade match because that looked vicious. Like, when that was all said and done, was there any talk between you two, or was he just kind of doing his thing and off to the next? Because, man, I watched it again the other day just to prepare for talking to you, and I was just like, holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he was really cool, man. I had like a whole bunch of wrestlers come up to me and like tell me how good of a job I did. And yeah, like even after the match was over, like, you know, the referee, when he was carrying me back, he was like, that was fucking awesome, man. You did a fucking fantastic job. That was fucking sick.
That's so cool.
I'm like, dude, I was like, I get goosebumps just thinking about it now because when they brought me to the back, you know, Vince McMahon, he looks at me, he's like, thank you. You know, I'm like, holy shit, he just thanked me. And then like one of these guys ended up like pulling me off to the side. I had like Peyton Royce and Billy Kay come up to me, and they're like putting me over about how well I sold his DDT. And I think Kalisto, he came up to me and like told me it looked nasty.
Wow.
And then, yeah, somebody pulled me off to the side, and they were like, just stand here for 1 second. Stand here. Somebody wants to talk to you. So I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, this is it. Like, here we go, man. I'm like, I just made this dude look like $1 million, and they're about to sign me. I don't know. That's what it sounds like. Somebody's going to offer me something.
Right.
and then nobody showed up. Nobody came by to talk to me, and that was it.
Wow. That had to be like really cool, but also when nobody showed up, you were kind of like, what the fuck was that all about?
Yeah, dude, it was like the best. Just like the best night. Like after, I wasn't even really nervous for it, man. I don't know why,
Oh,
because
wow.
usually I get really nervous for things, but it was like right before the match. I don't know, for some reason, like I was just in that go mode where it was like, I'm here to do my job, and like that's how I felt when I was in the ring and the bell rung. Like I didn't even like have that feeling of, oh my God, I'm on SmackDown. It was like
Right.
I was just at another show doing my job, and that was what I thought was the coolest part about it. I'm like, damn, like. I really treated that like it was some like this is my job type shit, But then after I got into the back, I'm like, okay, like I forgot this was live on television, so like I pull out my phone, and then everybody's hitting me up and everything, and I'm like, oh damn, like I forgot it was on TV, So
But that's cool because now you're in your element and it feels natural, and that's probably why it went so well.
exactly, yeah. So yeah, no, Andrade was really cool. I guess he like talked to Pepper maybe a couple weeks later, and he was like telling Pepper that he really liked me and that I did really well. And one thing that I do like about it though, and I'll say it to this day, I was the reason that Andrade kept that DDT finish.
Really?
Yes, because they were going to
awesome.
scrap it, dude. They were going to scrap that move because I guess the guy that took it the week prior, I don't know, he must have not made it look as good as they wanted to. But yeah, like they told him to plan on using something else because it just wasn't devastating enough or whatever. So they made me practice the move with him prior. And, like me and my backyard wrestling self, I'm just like, fuck it, dude. Like Vince McMahon is watching. He's asking me to take it. Like, I'm just going to kill myself,
Right.
And that's what I did. And they were like, holy shit, you take it like that on television? It's fucking gold. And I'm like, oh, I will gladly take it like this on television.
That's awesome. Good for you,
Yeah.
man. That's huge. And that's something that you could always like bring up. Like that's a great story to have,
Yeah, I mean, I take pride in the way that I sell. Like, it makes me feel good at least that I can make others look good.
Mhm.
And that's what I like about wrestling too. It's like it's not all about you. I totally don't mind ever putting people over or losing or anything. I would rather lose than win most of the time. I love making people look good. You know, it's just a part of the game.
I actually said on
man.
this show recently, I said losing sometimes does more for you than winning ever could. It's like sometimes the way you walk away from a match after a loss, it advances you so much into a storyline or an angle or something, so much more than just getting that win.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Sorry, man.
Back to you and your career. So besides your match with WWE, who are some of your favorite promotions that you've worked for over the years?
So I'm obviously like I love Smash Wrestling. They are the ones that really have like put me on. They've given me a whole bunch of matches, like put me in predicaments. Well, not predicaments. Well, just situations, where it's gotten me to level up in my career. I guess gain confidence and just be a better wrestler overall. I've wrestled some awesome dudes like Jay White. For example, like that was a crazy match that I've had. I wrestled a lot of like, dudes that I never would have guessed that I'd be wrestling on the independent circuit. So, Smash, they've done a lot for me. C4 in Canada is amazing up in Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, Ottawa. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, dude, the crowd is just insane, bro. Like they just love wrestling, and there's like 600 to 700 people that they cram in there. And they love it all. So I cannot wait to go back to C4. That's for sure.
Canada, man, they have some great crowds.
And I feel so bad for them, like with this whole pandemic. Like, at least in the States, like it's not like wrestling is normal here, but at least shows are happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like I haven't been fortunate enough to be on any, but I mean, wrestling is definitely. Well, things are a little bit more laid back, I guess, here than in Canada. So.
Well, they're starting to come back. We'll say that. Like I know I've had one match, and to me, I'm like silver lining. You know what I mean? It's coming.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, I've had one match just a couple weeks ago against Vinnie Moon at the gym, over at Daddy Yeah, the grappler.
Yeah. Yes.
But that was just like a filmed match that we did. But it was good for me just because I haven't been on a show in like a year or so. Just feeling it again, and just to remind myself that I'm still a wrestler and that I don't have like ring rust or anything.
Yeah. Right.
So,
Right.
yeah, and it went very well. It was a really good match. So
Well,
I'm
since
happy
we're on
about
the
that.
topic of that, who are some of your favorite opponents that you can, recall at the drop of a hat?
Let's see. So, this whole on the spot thing, sometimes it gets me.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, you're not the only one. Everybody I ask that has a pause.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about this the other day. I really loved wrestling Stu Grayson from Dark Order. I've had some awesome matches with him. I've wrestled him, Jesus, I don't know, probably like 4 times,
Oh,
4 or 5 times maybe. Yeah. And we've always had banger matches. I don't know what it is. Like, he's just the passion, I guess, that he puts into like putting matches together, and how much he wants to give you, and I don't know, man. Like, he's just a really nice guy overall. I've loved my matches with Stu Grayson. A lot of my good matches have been in Canada. So,
Yeah, right.
um, yeah, a lot of the Canadians, dude, they're just so good.
Oh, God, yeah.
Who else do? Oh, another guy that I really do love to wrestle, but maybe I'm just biased because like I know him, is Pepper Parks. Like, and he's had a help in like just polishing me. But it's like whenever I get in the ring with him, it's like I know things are going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like he's just like my wrestling father. So we've always just had great matches just because like I know him like the back of my hand. So
Right.
I love wrestling him. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's others, dude, but it's like sometimes it's hard to think right off the top of your head.
I mean, that's two good ones in their AEW right now, and that's huge in itself.
Exactly, yeah. And it's cool to see a lot of people that I consider friends of mine in AEW, and doing some really cool things.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I'm going to ask you a question that's going to be even harder for you right now.
Oh boy.
Do you have a favorite song that you've written?
Oh, that I've written?
Yeah.
So are we looking at it like in just like the lyrical standpoint of it, or just like as a song in general, like just being like an overall good song?
I'd say one that jumps out to you every time somebody says, "Oh, you're a musician too?" Like, what song would you be like, "Here, listen to this"?
I feel like there's
You have to pick a favorite child right now.
yeah. Oh god. I know, it's so hard, dude, because like there's so many, like, we'll just say like all of my songs have like a unique part of me in them. So whether it be like one song is like, the lyricism on this is like totally out of this world, then this other track is just like, I don't know, the vocals and like the chorus just sounds amazing.
Mhm.
And yeah, just even like the mixing and the production on one of them, I feel like for some reason I don't have like all of that in one track. I just feel like one, like I feel the same way about wrestling. It's like one match, it has this part about me that I love, and then it doesn't in this other match. Like WWE, when they asked me recently, like to show the matches, like they're like, send us a good match of yours. I'm trying to look at all of them and see where like I can like offer everything that I can possibly give in just one match. But it's like I feel like I don't have that,
Right.
like it's just everything, it's all scattered around, like, oh, this one, like I'm selling really like amazingly, but I don't know, maybe my stamina like just isn't the best looking here, or maybe I don't look as jacked in this one or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess that's kind of where I'm at with my songs, because like this last one that I just did, I love it, and it's getting some of the most traction that I've had on just like a normal song that I put out.
Yeah.
It's getting so many views and streams, dude, and like it feels really good. But I believe that the hook, the chorus, is what is getting people to really listen.
Mhm.
Not saying like the verse is bad or anything, but I don't think that it's like mind blowing, So it's like there's another song where it's like, I don't know, do I show this one to show off my lyrical abilities, or do I show it just because the hook is really good and could possibly be like a radio hit type of song, you know?
Right, right.
So it's so hard, dude. It's like I don't know if I could give you like just one song because I don't have all that I want in just one song, and I might not ever have that ever.
This is kind of a double header question with wrestling and music, but give me your biggest inspirations in both.
So we'll start with music. So I told you a little bit earlier that my brother had friends that were rappers.
Yes.
They definitely had a big part in that. And, you know, maybe it was just because, you know, they were like family to me and I knew them on that, you know, family relationship, like perspective, I guess. But I don't know, whatever it was, man, just about them, like they were good rappers as well. So for some reason, man, like I don't know, they were the ones that just kind of like pushed me in that direction without like telling me to go in that direction. I was just like this little kid that was like thought it was these guys were so cool, and when they would come by, my brother would bring them around. I would be, you know, showing them some weird lyrics that I wrote on my little like toddler keyboard that I had,
right?
You know, stuff like that. So, I mean, we started there, you know, I mean, and then as time progressed and I wanted to make more music and I started listening to more rappers, like, I ended up loving 50 Cent. I know it's hilarious. It's funny, but sixth grade, dude, like I thought I was 50 Cent, man. Like he was the dude, bro. Like, they would play 50 Cent songs at the middle school dances, dude. And like, we'd be dancing with all the girls. They all knew I was a rapper. You know, I was balling, man. Like 50 Cent, I had a 50 Cent type flow at 10 years old. I swear to God. Like I have old CDs where it's like, I could tell I was listening to 50 at that time just because of like the way that I said things. And it was so funny. So
that's great.
So yeah, it's like I don't know. I feel like just as time moved on, and like who was popular, what people like to listen to, I really paid attention to. So so you know, like Lil Wayne was like really big at one point. You know, it was really cool to listen to him. It's not like I wanted to be those people, but it's like I admired what they offered, and obviously because everybody listened to them, they must have been doing something right. So it's like I wanted a little piece of that, and you know, my skill set. So
right.
You know, I would it was just like my pro wrestling training. Like I would just take like little bits and pieces from different artists and then just kind of ball it together. So you know, like today, I'm just listening to like old Jay-Z albums, like just listening to like his cadences and just how he says things, and like, you know, just really taking the time to like appreciate, you know, why people love him, why he's good, you know, just the whole thing, just pretty much being a student of the game, essentially.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
so that's where my influences come in. I just, I really just like to sit and observe, you know, different people and whatever about these people that attracts me to them. You know, I really pay attention to it and then just, you know, try to use it to my advantage. As far as wrestling, I think it might be a little bit different just because I was such a, you know, super fanboy in wrestling, and I just loved Jeff Hardy, man. He was like my favorite dude ever.
I could see that.
Yeah, he was just, I don't know what really drew him to me, because it's not like I was like a crazy, like, you know, like punk guy that like, you know, dressed with like any of the mesh stuff or like wanted to like paint his nails or anything like that.
No, that was me.
Right. I mean, seriously, that's where like I sometimes wonder and question myself, like, how come I never really, you know, was more like I guess rock influenced. But I don't know. Maybe it's just being like a white suburban kid with a bunch of white suburban friends, just being like the cookie cutter like white kid. I don't know what it was, bro, but but yeah, I mean, I just felt like they were a part of me, you know, like inside I felt like I was like Jeff Hardy, you know, like I loved the risks that he took, you know, I loved his appearance. Also, you know, he loved to make art, he loved to make music. Just he had just this weird, cool swagger to him, and I
Yeah.
just loved every bit of it. And then Edge was another one. He was just like such a badass to me, and he did such a good job at his persona that I like when he was feuding with John Cena. There were times where I was just like, man, this dude is an asshole. Like, I really want John Cena to win, but it's like I'm telling all my friends, like, I love Edge. Like, he's the rated R superstar. Like, I love this guy. But
Right.
then it's like I'm watching it and I'm like, oh my god, fuck this guy. Like, he's such an asshole.
Yeah. I remember that
But
feud too. That was huge.
yeah, dude, I look at it and I'm just like, damn, like he was like my favorite wrestler, and even he was making me mad.
Right.
So I like, again, I look at it, I analyze it, and I'm like, what is this dude doing that is, drawing people in so well? Like he was just such a believable, intense character. Like you just, like I believed everything that he said.
Absolutely.
Like, so, like he was incredible. And then I just loved a lot of the high flying style guys too that really didn't talk as much. Just always loved the high flyers and stuff. That's pretty much my style. Kind of like a Jeff Hardy style wrestler, I guess. I don't even know what you really call it. Would you just say like high flying?
Yeah, I maybe just Daredevil.
Right, Daredevil, like, because even within the past couple years of wrestling, it's like I didn't really do too much like high flying stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was just more, I don't even know the word for it. It's like I'm like a neck breaker kind of guy, like doing cutters and
Right.
other like weird innovative type of moves. It's like I don't even know what to consider myself really. Like a Seth Rollins, type of style.
Yes. Yep. Exactly.
Like that.
It's like technical but high flyer at the same time. It's I guess there really is no real name for it.
I think that's exactly what they called like Jeff Hardy, for example, in like a video game. I think it was like technical high flyer.
Perfect. We just nailed it down.
Now that you said it, it definitely sounds about right.
Well, listen, man, I don't want to keep you too long because, you are a dad, so we don't want you, neglecting dad duties. But before I let you go, just plug all your social media, your YouTube channel, everything you got, and just let everybody who's listening know where they could find you for people who don't follow you already.
Yes. All right, everybody. So to those that are listening, well, thank you very much for being here, because now I'm going to plug all of my socials. I want you to go to the Kevin Bennett, whether it be on Twitter or Instagram or YouTube. Type in the Kevin Bennett. I call myself the Kevin Bennett not because I'm egotistical or cocky or whatever, but because there was a country artist that goes by the name of Kevin Bennett, and for some reason, whenever I would upload my songs, it would go under his page and he would get all the credit for my damn songs. And I don't know why that happened, but I had to change my artist name to the Kevin Bennett, because typically I really feel like there are no other Kevin Bennetts like me that are wrestlers and music artists. So I'm not lying. Like, I am the Kevin Bennett, because I really don't think that there are too many similar Kevin Bennetts out there. Common name, but like there's only so many Kevin Bennetts that do what I do.
Yeah, right.
So the Kevin Bennett Twitter. I definitely need the engagement on Twitter. So if you could follow me there, please like a couple of tweets, do some retweeting too. Even Google, man, just type in the Kevin Bennett music. Like, I will come up anywhere. So thanks a lot, guys.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. I know we were trying to nail it down forever. I think the first time I asked you was like a year ago. So I really appreciate it, man.
I'm sorry about that, man. Yeah, I know I could be pretty bad sometimes with like, getting back. But it's just like I feel like my mind is all over the place. So like if I don't respond for a little bit, it's just because I probably forgot.
Dude, I get it. I'm the same way. I got a lot of stuff going on. So like if you forget to respond to me, I'll forget that I even asked you. And then in like 6 months, I'm like, oh shit.
Exactly. So it's terrible on both of our ends.
Right. Well, thank you for being here, man. I do appreciate it. So
please. Yeah, this was great.
Well, we're going to cover some more like in-depth matches and stuff with you sometime, because I've seen some shit through the years in your matches, and we're going to talk about it.
All right. That would be perfect, man. Let's do it.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right, man. You too.
All right, rockers. So once again, that was Kevin Bennett. I really enjoyed that interview. It was a lot of fun. I learned a lot about Kevin. I have known him for a long time. We met many years ago, but never really delved into this stuff, so it was really cool getting to know him a little bit more for me. So I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Make sure you follow him on social media, including YouTube. Check out all of his songs. He's always got something new coming out, something new happening, and he's somebody to watch out for on all fronts, music and wrestling. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will catch you next week right here on the All Bets Are Off podcast.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.